I feel like we need a theme song for
Oh, I
family,
agree.
right?
Yes.
Like an old sitcom or something.
Oh yeah, especially with the sitcom theme of the family hangouts.
Right. Right, don't you think? Here, let me see. Let me see if I can find some. By the way, welcome. If anybody's in the chat, which it doesn't look like anybody is yet. So welcome in the future. If you're watching this as a patron on the post. We're going to find some theme music here.
That's one of the cool things about doing video and audio nowadays. Is it's kind of like you're sending a electronic time capsule.
What about this one? Will this work?
It's a rare condition this day and age. Read any good news on the newspaper page. Love and tradition of granite size.
It's like the metal version.
It's super metal.
Well, then there must be some magic clue inside this temple.
Just get that My Little
hilarious.
Pony hair going next time. You can headbang with it.
That's hilarious. This is the real one. There you go. Welcome to the family meeting.
I really like that one.
What's
nice.
that?
I really like that one. That second one. It almost feels like a
theme song, the Family Matters theme song.
Yes. This weekend, Family Matters.
Very nice. Well, we've got a couple people hanging out. Make sure you say hello in the chat. I am excited to get to hang out with you guys every month and just kind of answer any questions you have. This is all about you. So you get to say whatever you want, ask whatever you want, and you can kind of lead the way. However, Blake, my amazing family meeting co-host, also has prepared some stuff as well in case you don't have anything during our monthly meeting. So Blake, take it away.
Well, as always, we will do Whose Line Is It Anyway? What we've been up to this past month, catching up. Dicer, I'll let you go first because mine's really boring. So what you been up to the past month? Last time we talked, it was 2 or 3 days after you'd seen Star Wars, I think.
It is all awards, man. It is just did my voting today for the awards. So got the official ballot, turned it in earlier today. And then it's just kind of getting ready to get out of town. So hello, Lynn. One life to live.
One life to live.
Says, hey guys. So yeah, I'll be flying out to LA Wednesday, so 2 days, and then I'll be there. The awards are Thursday night on the CW, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 6 Pacific. No, 5 Pacific, wherever you are.
That's very Pacific of you.
Thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, I was wrong, even as Pacific as I tried to be. What's up, Dr. C? Chaput. So my life's been revolving around getting the ballot in, making sure I've seen everything, all that kind of stuff, trying to get back into the swing of a new year, which the other part is getting my official list done. So I have my official favorite 41. I think I've got it all set. I'm going to give it one more look over, and then I've got to do all the prep of, figuring out how I want to do the videos, if I want to put it in a video, or if I just want to do a blog post. Or last year, for the first time, I did like 4 videos and kind of broke down 10 by 10, for each of the 41. Obviously, the first video had 11, not 10. I think I want to do that again, but it is a lot of work. So I'm just trying to figure out when I want to release. I want to release those this month, so it'll probably be towards the end of this month.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of work, so I don't want to volunteer you for that. But man, I really like that format. I found it when I was cleaning out my room or something, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And I watched all of them. So I was super late to the party, but I remember tweeting at you after. I was like, "Oh, the accountant's been the bottom 30. Oh my gosh!" And you were like, "Are you surprised?" But
yeah,
I'm excited to see that, especially with this year we've had with so many, B plus, A minus movies. I bet it was tough to make that list.
It was very difficult. I left some off that I think will be a surprise to people. Maybe not. I mean, if you pay attention to kind of my thoughts on stuff, there are definitely some Best Picture nominees that will not even make my top 41. So that's not necessarily strange. There's always a few that don't connect with me. But this year, I'm really excited about the consistency of the list. In years past, I always feel like my number 41, even though I enjoy it, isn't necessarily a great movie.
Right.
I feel like I could go to bat for all 41 of these movies as being at least really good movies. So when you're dealing with a list that big over the course of a year, I mean, if you think about it, if you see 150 movies, like movie critics usually do 150 to 200 movies, that's almost a third of all the movies you saw. So obviously, it's going to be diminishing returns once you kind of get into, to that 35 to 41 range. But I really feel like this year there were 41 movies that I really liked. So as an example, I think it last year my number 41 was what was the Dwayne Johnson disaster movie?
San Andreas.
Yeah, San Andreas was like my number 41. So
I remember that and being surprised. I was like, well, all right. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah, exactly. But this year I feel like it's the strongest number 41 I've ever had. So
I'm excited for that.
Having said that, the top of the list, it doesn't feel top heavy to me. I don't know that any of them will break into my top 100 of all time. So
that blows my mind. You and I love this game where I agree 100% with you on a lot of things and 0% on the other. I know your preference is to have just a top heavy year if you had to pick, but I love years like this where it's just a bunch of good movies. Even though you're right, when I made my top 5, I was like, oh wow, the bottom 3 of that are just kind of bottom 2 are just kind of okay. But I much prefer that.
Yeah, I don't know that I prefer one over the other.
I thought you said you would rather have the.
It's great either way.
Okay.
I do love a transcendent movie experience. But yeah, no, I also like going to lots of good movies too.
Well, one last question from that. I wish I would have thought about this when I was prepping because I would have been built some more. But is there any movie in particular, you don't have to say, but just did it happen where you had any of them jump 10 or go down 10 after your initial?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sweet. Maybe I'll just live tweet as I watch those. Well, we're just going to skip on catching up with me because legitimately nothing happened. I've just been boring and married, but let's go to the family. Yeah. No, not complaining. Just, nothing to report.
Lynn asked why 41, which is a common question. The 41 started as my number in basketball in high school. Got attached to it. I love it. I think it's a super sexy number. I love the way the 4 and the 1 look next to each other. It's got like these really cool angles to it. You can write it in a lot of cool ways. I'm not even kidding. I think it's a really cool number. It's a prime number. I love prime numbers. It's a rather high prime number, so it works well for me. I like 4-1.
Lynn, were you expecting him to have such a good answer? Because that was an amazing answer for just that number. That was awesome.
Well, the other part of it is there's more. Biblically, the number 40 is seen as a number of completion. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights, that kind of thing. So I wanted to go the extra mile, one more than complete. So 41. And in Hitchhiker's Guide, 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. But I'm not quite that good. So it's just one below, 42.
Aaron, if I had to use a word to describe like your brand, thorough would be one of the top words I would think of. That's
nice.
That's awesome. Well, our family matters topic for the month is family see generational movies. Now, I don't want to beat a dead horse. And Aaron, I got to say, you do so much content that sometimes throughout the month, I'll have a question ready for that. I'll have to cross it off because you'll cover it in a podcast or whatever. But I just wanted to see if anyone had any finishing Star Wars thoughts, since that was right before you went to go see it. Or you had seen it, but we hadn't. I was going to see it the next 2 or 3 days. So just any other Star Wars thoughts from the chat, maybe see where 8's kind of falling in your range, something along those lines.
Yeah, I still love it. I love it more as days go by. I loved it more the second time I saw it, for sure. It is. I think it will continue to grow on me, um, and I already really loved it the first time I saw it. So I think I, I think it's really good. I think Ryan Johnson is a wonderful filmmaker, and he decided to do something very interesting. And it's not a surprise, really, when you think about it, that it's as divisive as it is. But I think it's a great film.
And people keep saying like, "Oh, how did he do it?" I mean, JJ's gonna change all of it back, and I'm thinking that surely Disney. It's not like they were surprised when they saw it
Oh
play.
no, and
So
he talked to. My understanding is he talked to JJ about all that stuff. The raised parentage stuff, I think, was a conversation they had. So, and I'm not going to spoil anything, just in case somebody who's watching this hasn't seen it. Um, but yeah, I think they had all those conversations. I do not believe all the. I think it's a fool's errand when I hear people say, "Yeah, I think that was a lie. It's going to be, JJ's going to change it back," or that kind of. I just that there's no reason to feel that way. Like you can, if that happens, then deal with it. But there's no reason to build yourself up again to be disappointed.
yeah,
So I
where
don't know.
I know that you keep an updated list for Pixar, but where would you put 8 right now?
Currently at fourth.
Oh wow,
Currently fourth for me.
nice.
So I would have New Hope and Empire at the top, followed very closely by Force Awakens. I still like Force Awakens better than Last Jedi,
Hmm.
slightly. So, and I think that's just because Force Awakens, um, there's something about the newness of everything. Even though I know the knock on that movie is that it's the same as New Hope. Um, so yeah, I love New Hope.
Yeah, I mean the bones of it, the very bones of it can be similar, but I don't think it's as similar as everyone says. But
Yeah.
that's funny. You and I have 8 at 2 right now and 7 at 3. So on any given day, I could probably switch them. But
Yeah, but you're weird. You have one of the prequels at number one.
so you got to remember where I grew up. My number one is the third movie,
Yeah.
and I grew up on the prequels. You know how there's like VCRs were in minivans. That was the thing. If you had a
Right.
VCR in your minivan, I watched episode 1 at least 80 times, and because I got that when I was so young, and I'm sure if anyone heard that, they'd be like, "You must hate yourself."
Yeah, but
But
you have episode one as your least favorite.
right, because over time it changed, but because I had so much inundation, I was really connected to the prequels, and then for me, 3 was what tied everything together, like 4 through 6. So,
Mhm.
and Obi-Wan's my favorite character, so of course 3 is my number one. But 8 actually, it'll probably change with recency, but it made so many big moves, and that's what I respect most in franchises. So I got it too.
Nice.
Any questions from the chat on Star Wars before we move on? I didn't know if anyone.
Shout outs to Alex, who I see in the chat now. Good to see you.
Alex.
But no, I don't see any other questions.
Okay. Well, let's see. So next we're going to wrapping up questions, unsolved mysteries.
Cool.
Again, if you all have any questions that you've thought of this month that you really wanted to ask Aaron, this would be the time. I've got some prepared.
Anytime.
Not.
Pop in the chat. We'll follow your lead. This is for you.
I feel like the first one to ask, I'm going to go out of order here, since you've got the Critics' Choice Awards coming up, is just any questions or anything you wanted to talk about, anything the chat wanted to talk about. Who are you excited to see, in terms of celebrity? What categories are you anxiously, you really care about this category, those types of things?
It's obviously my love for Pixar. I'm really curious. Animation. If it doesn't win animation, I'll be really disappointed. It just seems like it's a front runner, and it really should win that. But the one I'm really interested in is best song. Remember Me. Really hoping that wins. So I do get invested in Coco. Before we continue with that, in the chat, what's your go-to Christmas holiday movie? Mine is It's a Wonderful Life. We watch it every year. We also watch Elf quite a bit. So I enjoy those over the holidays. Those are good. White Christmas is great. So there's a lot of great stuff. Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad. So back to the Critics' Choice Awards. There are ones. It's really interesting. Um, like the big awards, I'm not all that invested in this year. I'd like to see Lady Bird win some awards. I think it's a great film. I wouldn't mind seeing. It's interesting if you look at the Best Picture. There are like 3 movies I would just love to see. Like if they won, I'd be so happy. Big Sick, Get Out, and Lady Bird. Like if any of those 3 win, that's fun. Like that's just a really fun thing to see those be crowned the best movie of the year by the critics. Um, I think 2 of those have a legitimate chance. I think Get Out or Lady Bird, depending on how the votes fall, actually might win. Um, I'm afraid of Shape of Water winning a bunch of stuff. It's a great movie. It's going to be on my list, but I don't think it's the best movie of the year, no matter how I slice it. So, hey, Evan's in the chat. Shout out to Evan. So, Lady Bird didn't resonate with Evan. Sorry, Evan.
I didn't see Lady Bird, but if you put it in the category as Get Out and Big Sick, I definitely want to see it.
Well, I'd just be thrilled. I'd just be thrilled to see it. I just thought it was a really fun movie. Any of the others, meh. I'd kind of be disappointed also if 3 Billboards won, just because that one didn't connect with me overall. And I find it problematic. But really, I'm not invested in a lot of these categories. I find
Are you allowed to tell us?
Go ahead.
Are you allowed to tell us like who you voted for in any of them, or is that locked? Because I'm dying to know from your tweet earlier today who you ended up voting for on Childhood Best Actor.
Yeah, I can tell you that. In the chat, Dr. C says, "Are you going to do another Oscar pool?" Absolutely. We will have the Sif Pop Oscar Challenge. That'll go live as soon as the nominations do. So you'll have a couple months. By the way, those nominations are happening here pretty quickly, here in a couple weeks. So you'll have a couple months to get your picks in on those. I thought that was a blast. So we'll definitely do that again. I plan on doing both the Sif Pop Oscar Challenge, and then
Summer movie.
One. What?
Summer movie.
Yeah, the summer movie, the Sif Sum Summer Movie Challenge. So those are the 2 contests we'll do every year. Yeah, so the kids category, such a great category. You've got the girl from Gifted, who's phenomenal. The girl from Logan, who's incredible, who I know you're pulling for. The girl from the Florida Project. I actually didn't end up seeing Wonderstruck, so I cannot comment on that one. And then Jacob Tremblay is amazing in Wonder. So you've got great performances all around. I actually ended up voting for Brooklyn Prince from the Florida Project, which is interesting because I actually didn't like the Florida Project as much as most people, but she blows my mind in that movie. I thought they just found this kid who was like this and then just filmed them and just let them be themselves. That's how authentic it feels. And then you see her in interviews afterwards, and she's just this prissy LA kid, that's having a good time or whatever, and nothing like this character that's in the movie. And I'm like, who are you that can turn into a different person like that? It's a mind-blowing performance when you see, what she's really like. So that's what I ended up going with.
I can't, man, she beat McKenna Grace and Daphne King, my mind's just blown, because McKenna Grace was so great and Gifted, and then Daphne King, the only reason I would have edged her over is because she was acting with Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. But gosh, now I want to see the Florida Project. I missed a lot of the indies. I missed a lot of those.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you think the Oscars will put in some popular favorites like Get Out, Wonder Woman to drive ratings now that appears Lady Bird and 3 Billboards have some awards momentum? I think Get Out will get nominated for Best Picture. I do not believe Wonder Woman will get nominated for Best Picture. But yeah, I think Get Out will get nominated. And I think Jordan Peele will get nominated as well.
Get Out winning is so important, 1, for the message, but 2, because maybe studios will release some good stuff early in the year rather than waiting at the end. That would be awesome.
The most disappointing thing I've heard, this is completely secondhand, is Oscar voters who are saying, "Oh, we did the people of color vote last year."
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the worst?
Get Out was my 3rd favorite movie of the year, and I
When
can't
I read that, I was like, I didn't even. I mean, I know it's about racial tension, but I didn't even think of it as like, a black movie or something. You know what I mean? It's just like that mindset. I don't understand it.
Well, and because that reduces that movie to winning as a pity vote, and it is not a
Right.
pity vote win.
Right.
That movie is transcendent. I mean, I walked out of that movie thinking Jordan Peele, sketch comedian guy, made this movie on a small budget with no name actors. Mostly, this is, a feat.
Yeah.
I listened to all of his interviews, podcasts afterwards, anywhere where he went. It was cool hearing about that.
He is. You mentioned people I'm looking forward to possibly meeting. He's definitely one of them. I hope he's there. So I would love to say hey to Jordan. A lot of the directors, actually. The directors are some of my favorite meets at the awards. I love going around and saying hey. So Greta Gerwig, Christopher Nolan. I haven't met Christopher Nolan yet. So it'd be really cool to meet those guys.
What's it like socially trying to get around to talk to people? I mean, do you have to kind of wait, let them talk to? Like, what's it like?
Yes, there's waiting involved, but the cool thing is there's so many really famous people that it's not as if there's a throng around them. Now there are one or two people each year, maybe more, maybe like 3 or 4, that are so famous that they're even a magnet in the most famous room. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say Spielberg's there. Spielberg's going to be a magnet even in a famous room, right? So those kind of people, you kind of have to be a little bit aggressive to actually get in and shake their hand. Although I will tell you, one of the easiest experiences I ever had was chatting with J.J. Abrams. Like I just walked up to him and we just chatted for like 3 minutes. I thanked him for the movies he made and those kind of things. And, he was so super polite. So it's not always like that. Of course, Abrams, I guess, is still he's not like a legend like Spielberg is or anything yet. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, saying hello to Denzel was difficult, but I managed to make it happen. So I think there's you just have to want it. It's like anything. And I refuse to be rude, but at the same time, I view it as getting a chance to say thank you to these people who have, contributed to my entertainment and my enjoyment. So, and last year I didn't even take any pictures. I'm going to take some pictures, I think, again this year. But
yes,
they recommend you don't. And last year they were, it was the first year they were like, leave the celebrities alone, please. Don't ask for pictures. And I don't know. I'm viewing it as a request this year and one that I may not follow. So.
Yeah, that just seems a little weird. I mean, now in today's society, it's very standard. You take a photo with.
Well, I get it. They want the celebs to come back. They don't want these people to feel like they're under attack when they come to the Critics' Choice Awards. So.
I would imagine though y'all don't treat them like that at all, and so.
I don't. At least I hope I don't. But there's always
you have an advantage. You have an advantage in this, Aaron, because you're so tall. It must be a lot easier for you to get through the crowd.
I do stand out in a crowd. That's for sure.
You don't say. Listen, y'all. Aaron in person is even taller than you expect him to be.
Yeah, I'm huge right now too. That's one of my goals for 2018. I'm gonna try to lose 100 pounds this year.
100?
Yep, I'm going for 100 this year. Very possible. Last time I lost all my weight was I started at about this weight, and I ended up losing 130. So.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe I'll add that to the check-in list.
Yeah. No. As many people can keep me accountable as possible. It's not something I'm, ashamed of or anything. I know how to do it. I've done it before. I know it just involves exercising more and keeping a better tab on what I eat. But my body definitely likes to gain weight. It's one of those things. The interesting stuff that I've read is that once you've gained fat cells, they never go away. So the fat will be burned, but that cell will still be there. So I literally have more opportunity to gain weight than most people because I've created those fat cells. So that's why it's a lot harder for people who've already gained weight to actually maintain their weight loss, is because it's, your body has so many more opportunities for you to store, extra calories. So anyways, but I know how to do it. I just have to commit myself to it and have a little discipline. So I'm going to give that a shot this year.
Anyone's binge watching Aaron's videos 18 to into 2018 and be like, is this the same guy?
Well, I've actually had people who have gone back and watched some of the videos from I started in 2007. The lightest I was right in the 2008, early 2009 range. And I've had people say, "Wow, you used to be skinny or whatever." And so, yeah. But my wife
That's a
doesn't
little
like me
awkward to
that
say.
skinny. She didn't like me at 230, which was the lightest I got. She likes me right around 260. So that's a good weight for me. But right now, do you want to guess how heavy I am? This might be awkward. I don't know. But what would you put me at right now?
It's not awkward for me. Okay, so I've got to meet you. You're 6'5".
Yeah, I'm 6'5", 6'6".
Okay, you want to lose 100 pounds. The lightest is your wife doesn't like you at 230. I'm going to guess you are. I'm going off of that reasoning, not by looks at this point, because this is 35.
You were breaking up quite a bit there. Did you guess 335?
I'm guessing that because your wife doesn't like you at 230, you want to lose 100 pounds, so you don't want to get below 230.
Yeah,
so
no,
I'm
you
going to
should be
say
able to figure out easy.
335.
360.
Okay. Well, that didn't seem possible. I mean,
Actually, technically, my last weigh-in yesterday was 367.3.
wow. Well,
yeah.
this is a weird thing to say, but you carry that really, really well.
No,
Because when I did the obvious math,
I mean, I know I look heavy, but I do carry 360 pounds pretty well.
yeah.
And I do know my scale also breaks down muscle versus fat, those kind of things. And my muscle mass is 210, like just my muscle mass, and my bone mass is like 10. So 200. If I had zero fat on me, I would still weigh 220 pounds. So you can see why I would look, super skinny at 230. But actually, when I was 230, I didn't have as much muscle mass as I do now. I've worked out a lot since then. So yeah. So yeah, I do carry it well, but I still I can feel it. This is the weight where I start to feel it on how I breathe and those kind of things. So I'm ready to lose some weight.
No, I feel it. That could be. I was trying to sit in my theater, sit down, and I'm like, why is this chair so small? I come to this theater my whole life. And I realized I'd got up to 230, and I was so fat that I couldn't sit in it. And so I ended up dropping 20 pounds last year. And everyone, before I got married, they're like, you're doing it just because you're getting married. And I was like, I'll let you believe that, because if I tell you I just am doing it to sit at the theater chair better, you will call me a liar.
It's so funny for me to hear normal people talk about being fat at 230 pounds. Well, it's such a different world I live in.
It's because my body frame only holds weight in my stomach. Everything else, I mean, my arm is like a twig. So that's it just concentrates there. This has been a very open dialogue, everyone, about me and Aaron's weight.
Here's another hint. I'll give you another hint. When I am above 300 pounds, I grow a beard. When I'm under 300, I shave it.
Because it like
it helps hide like the extra weight down here. So,
man, I wish I could grow a beard. I want a beard so bad.
I barely can. Like, I mean, there's a lot missing here.
I don't know though. That it's barely missing, and it's like underneath. So, like, I mean, just looking full frontal, it's. I mean, you got this is what's important, right? This right here, you got that. So
yeah, I've got it's pretty full here. So.
Man, I want that facial hair, or not. I just want facial hair, not that facial hair.
Well, next time I shave, I can send you some. Because I know what you meant.
There we go. We had the roof patron perk. Next one will be have a piece. You want a piece of me? Piece of Aaron's beard.
Goatee. Hair today, gone tomorrow.
I gotta stop making myself laugh. So, any other?
Evan in the chat is keeping us up to date in the national title game in the football game.
Oh, where are we rolling along at?
I don't. He just said Bama just missed a field goal attempt.
Oh no. Let's see. Well, I'm trying to think if there's any other Critics' Choice Awards. Oh, who are you taking with you as your +1? I thought it was Andrew Ormsby, but then I think I heard you say on your podcast he wasn't going.
It was never Andrew. It was going to be Jeremy for a long time from Cinema Sins, and then he couldn't do the date. They changed the date, and so now it's Chris from Cinema Sins.
Oh yes. Okay, at least whenever it was going to be you and Jeremy, I was thinking to myself, "Oh man, the tweets are going to be awesome! I can't wait to hear him talk about it on his podcast." And then I was at the gas station coming home from work when I get the notification that he can't go. And I was like, no. But if it's Chris, that's just as good. Y'all will have a great time.
Yeah, but Chris doesn't tweet. But yeah, he'll probably talk about it on the podcast, I imagine.
Yeah, you should have him on the next week and get him to talk about it some, because Chris says the way he talks is so funny. Like, he can tell a story that shouldn't be funny, and the way he says it just makes it funny.
The podcast Sif Pop next week will be a Swift Sift from LA with Chris. So we'll chat about the awards and that kind of stuff.
Aaron, it's like I just asked for a cool piece of content, and you already made it in that moment.
Right. And this is breaking news as well. I don't know that it's public, although I guess Jeremy tweeted a little bit about it. But I will be on the Sincast here in the next few weeks. I'm heading to Nashville to record the the 2017 Year in Movies episode with them. So.
That's awesome. I was expecting you to be on this Monday due to circumstances, so I was surprised when it wasn't you. So that's cool that you're coming to visit, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Any other Critics' Choice Awards questions? I think that's probably about it. Well, I guess we'll use this question since it won't apply next month, but any other goals for 2018? Movie goals? We already heard the personal goal.
Not really. I want to add my Patreon support. Thank you so much for the support, guys. Just again, cross the $500 a month mark, which when it's above $500 a month, that's one of the goals. And with it is creating another video each week. So I want to get into the habit of doing that, especially if that support stays up there over $500 a month. I really enjoyed doing the Jumanji video. I don't know if you saw that one where I broke down the game mistakes in the old Jumanji movie.
Right.
Kind of played off one of the Sins videos I wrote on, and I just wrote on. Oh, I can't tell you because it's not out yet. I'm not allowed to break that news. But I just wrote on another Sins video, and there was another idea I had about different place to go with something I had recognized in that video. And so I'm thinking the Sinside Scoop or whatever I called it might become kind of an occasional thing where I go a little deeper into one of the Sins videos that I write on, because I really enjoyed that and it feels like people liked it too. So, or I may do another review, or I may think of something else, but I'd like to do 3 videos a week if I can figure out how to do it. I'm so stinking busy, but I think I can make it happen.
You know what? Mental note, next month, one of my questions will be, what is your schedule like? Because I'm being genuine. I don't know how you keep up with everything.
Evan in the chat says where to find these videos. It's all on YouTube. Evan, I don't think you follow actually my YouTube channel. I think you follow me through other places, but it's just youtube.com/yourmoviefriend. So all my reviews and that stuff is there.
He's probably thinking the same thing. How on earth could Aaron have another thing of content?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Man, what is it, the level that you need to get at to where you're doing a daily show or like a semi, was it $1,000?
I think at $1,000 a month, I can pull it up.
Are you going to do a daily like podcast, or was it like a video?
No, I think is what we were talking about.
Oh, I thought it was a podcast.
Oh, I'm not seeing it.
I feel like it said show when I saw it.
Yeah, $1,000 a month, weekly live video show. So a weekly live show that's video with production and news and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that would be cool. I gotta say, man, your Patreon, like with this Patreon and then the network podcast Patreon is like, it's very steadily growing. I mean, it's been cool to see those goals kind of start.
People like the stuff. I'm always humbled by it. It's, I love that people can just give a few bucks every month, right? And it's just a way to say, hey, I vote for your stuff. Like, I believe in it. I love it. And, the little perks we can give or that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so it's been kind of cool to see the growth happen. There was the My Little Pony thing that pumped the Your Movie Friend, but I've been impressed to see people have stuck around for a couple months since then, so that's great. That's awesome. It's very much appreciated. So it's not the level it was that month. Like I think that month it was like $700 a month, 7 or 8.
Yeah, it was
800. So there, obviously, it's dropped a couple $100. People just did it for that month, which I expected. You know, I mean, whenever you do something like that, you kind of have to expect a little bit. But it's nice that it's kind of stuck up there a little bit. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I just think that there's some phrase, you keep doing something good long enough, people notice. I feel like, see, it's 7:37. So one last question then before we go to our closing. Since you mentioned doing the Sin Brain, I've been wanting to ask you this for a while, but I wanted you to have a few months of writing for Cinema Sins before I did.
Mm-hmm.
Is it tough to turn your Sin Brain off? Because I don't even write for Cinema Sins. I just enjoy their videos, and sometimes I'll be at a movie and I'll hear a ding, or I'll think, oh, that's an easy sin. Is it difficult to, as a reviewer, like of movies and going to them all the time, is it tough to turn that off?
No, not for me. It's a totally different mindset for me. When I'm sinning something, I'm not just watching it. I'm studying it in different kinds of detail. I'm looking in the background. I'm looking, I'm pausing it and looking at things. I'm rewinding and, I'm watching with subtitles on so I can read exactly what they're saying and maybe make a joke about what they're saying. Or plus I'm watching to find humor, to make light of something as opposed to watching to enjoy something. So it's completely different to me. So I haven't felt the impact at all. If I'm going to notice that something is quote unquote sinnable in a movie, I was going to notice that anyway. It just doesn't strike me as, something that's added to my perception. So
yeah, when you said you were going to write for them, I was real excited, but then I've been thinking I'm going to watch and see if Aaron gets a little more cynical, like on the podcast or on your videos. I thought surely it's got to make you a little bit more, but it must be as separate as you say. Because I haven't.
If you see me moving that direction, you can tell me. But no, I'm as optimistic as ever. I want to love everything. In fact, I was listening to their podcast. I think the one that just dropped today. And Chris said something about wanting to love every movie he sees, and I'm like, see, that's what it's about. Like, I think at heart we're all movie optimists, and some of us maybe are willing to overlook more, or want to love things so much that we're willing to take extra steps to do so. I think that's why I'm usually about a grade higher than Jeremy on stuff, because that stuff I think gets to him a little bit more. I'm able to suspend a little bit more disbelief, those kind of things, because I want to have a good experience. But no, I mean, you can let me know if you feel like I'm not.
No. That wasn't, sorry if that seemed a little passive aggressive.
No.
I haven't, I was surprised, and that's why I put the question in, is because I thought this has to affect him at some level, but I haven't noticed it. And so
it's also different because I know so many people feel like Cinema Sins is like critique and review. And it's just, it's my brain is finding humor and then maybe educating on the side, finding humor in some kind of critical analysis. Whereas when I'm watching movies for review, it's critical analysis with maybe a side of humor. It's like it's a totally different, kind of perspective on things. By the way, I wrote on the Pirates one that just came out. I am the most proud of that script as any script I've ever written on. I killed some jokes on that script. I loved it. It was one of my favorites.
Well, that might be right after this. I'm eating dinner, so I think I just figured out what I'll be watching.
The Dead Man's Chest. Is it Dead Man's Chest? I think whatever the last Pirates movie that came out. Some good jokes in there. Some really good jokes.
Yeah,
really good jokes.
Well, you landed on a good one, because it's something you want to see to stay current. It's got Johnny Depp, but it's also, ripe for material. So that is nice that you got to plug that.
I always surf the comments, now, especially as a writer, to kind of see what jokes people are landing on, that kind of thing. And there are people in the comments are usually very trolly. The Cinema Sins comments are rough. Like, people.
Oh, really? I've never gone down there.
Yeah, it can be a rough place down in the Cinema Sins comment section. But people were saying things like, man, this video is really witty. Like this is a whole nother level kind of. It's just so encouraging. I don't know. I take pride in my work, so it's one of.
If you can turn an internet troll into a fan, I mean, that's probably one of the hardest conversions that there is. So
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that hostile. I just assumed people would assume they know what they're getting into. I've never gone down there to look. Oh man.
Yeah, Chris and I wrote the Pirates one.
Oh, okay. See, I've always wondered, or I always want to know who's on each one. I try to figure that out when I'm watching it. You and Chris, that must be a good script.
Well, you can always text me.
If
I can tell you who does each one.
you know, you did that publicly, I'll take you up on that offer. If anyone has got any other questions, we're about to move to what's coming out next month. Just last chance in the chat. Any burning questions to ask?
Everybody left when I started talking about my weight. They're like, "I'm out of here."
He's weighing this conversation down.
That's right. Cut the fat, Dicer.
Let's see. You know, next month is pretty sparse, and I figured it would be sparse for you because you've already seen at least one or two of these. But
of the ones you wrote down, I've only seen the post. In fact, I just recorded you for the post. That'll go up this week. So
I'm excited to see who loved it so much, and I haven't seen it yet. So if I go see that one, got the Post and the Commuter and Paddington 2 coming out January 12th. Meh.
yeah. You're not going to hear much from me on any of these.
That's what I thought. I put this in here just out of I'm a Creature of Habit. The January 19th, 12 Strong, Den of Thieves. Both of those look like they have potential, but
yeah.
And then Maze Runner comes out January 26th. And
I actually kind of enjoyed the first Maze Runner. I thought there was a lot of potential there. I like the world building. Was not impressed at all with the second one. Like, just everything I enjoyed about the first one, it was like, we don't need to do that anymore. Let's do this other uninteresting stuff. And yeah, I was not impressed.
Yeah, did you ever read the books?
No.
That first Maze Runner book was amazing, just amazing.
I get it.
I didn't even mean that one. And it just kind of went down, and so I didn't even see the second Maze Runner movie because I was like, this is only going to get worse.
Yeah.
But it's so sad too because they had such a great cast. But
yeah.
Well, that's
there you go.
Our January movies and our January family movie hangout.
Thank you guys once again. I always end it this way, and I always will because I really couldn't do this without you. So thank you. Your support means the world. I know it's just a couple bucks every month. I mean, I guess if you're watching this, it's $5, bucks a month or more. It's mind blowing to me that there are over 40 people who are willing to throw a couple bucks, my way every month to keep me making YouTube videos. So I actually said it in one of my reviews that I recorded today, but with as small as my channel is, which by the way just crossed 2,000 subscribers, thanks in part to Jeremy tweeting out. So it was funny because I was like 30 subscribers away, and so I was like, hey, by the end of the year I'd love to be at 2,000, and Jeremy retweeted it, and now I'm at like almost 2,300. So it was like jumped like 10% through the power of CinemaSins. But anyways, all that to say, it blows my mind that people are willing to pay, and it's the only way I can do this. With as small a channel as I have, the way the revenue is changing on YouTube, I mean, I make maybe $10 a month on YouTube through my reviews, but because you guys, I'm making $500 a month total, and that's just through the YouTube supporters. So it actually is legitimately a way for me to help provide for my family. So really, really appreciate you guys. So thank you guys, Dr. C. Thank you. Appreciate the compliment. Lynn, thank you so much. And Evan as well. Appreciate those kind words, guys. And thanks for watching live. And obviously, thank you, Blake. You're a supporter and you help, run stuff. So much appreciated.
It's a great time.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you in February. We will see you in February. I'm not sure exactly when yet. Hopefully, it'll be the first Monday, which I think is somewhere around the 5th or something like that. See, I think the 1st is a Thursday. Second, yeah, the 5th.
Yes, it is.
We're looking at Monday the 5th. We'll probably do something that actually I think could be the weekend after I record with the guys for the 2017 episode. So hopefully that'll have happened by then. Evan says, think about it. 5 things about The Room. It's not happening. I am not a fan of room culture. So, sorry. Although if you watch my 5 things about The Disaster Artist, I did do a wonderful Tommy Wiseau impersonation at the beginning. So you can check that out.
Yeah, that movie was interesting because I went with my brother and sister-in-law who we live in their guest house, and they've been watching The Room since they were like really young and the Nostalgia Critic stuff on it. So I had no idea what I was going into. That was intense.
I don't like liking things ironically. I want to like them legitimately. And the Room's it's just a bad movie by somebody who had a lot of money to make a movie, and it's an interesting story, but I also am not a huge fan of what James Franco has done with The Disaster Artist. I feel like in many ways he's, using Tommy Wiseau and, propping up somebody who, already has issues, it feels like. So I don't know, it's a little icky to me. What I tell people is if you like the message of The Disaster Artist, which I think is trying to be about creating and pursuing your dream no matter what, that kind of thing, even if it's weird and people don't understand it, the much better way to get that message is Brigsby Bear. It is everything The Room or The Disaster Artist should be without the ickiness that kind of weighs it down in my mind. So anyways.
Well, cool. Yeah, with that movie, it's a weird dichotomy. You're either like, is he propping up Wiseau and giving him a shot, or is he using him? It is weird. So.
Yeah, well, the way he elbowed him out of the way at the Golden Globes, I think.
That was so awkward.
All right, thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Love you all. You're the best, and we'll see you in a month. And let me know if you guys need anything, want anything. I really do appreciate you guys as supporters. You have my ear in a way that other people don't. So if there's ideas you have or anything, feel free to hit me up on Patreon or however you want to. So peace out. We'll check you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.